I gently close the day and choose to inhabit this moment. The room holds the echo of what was lived, and yet a new space is born here, quiet and kind. I acknowledge the rush, the tasks, the conversations, the doubts, the small joys, and perhaps a pain that still hums. I don't need to sort anything now. I just feel the weight of my body, the touch of fabric, the temperature of the air on my skin, and the pull of gravity inviting me to set down today's story and rest. I let attention rest on my breathing without forcing or fixing it. Air comes and goes like the tide meeting the shore. With every in-breath there is a welcome. With every out-breath, a letting go. If my mind runs, I bring it back with patience. If a list of tasks appears, I place it on an inner table for tomorrow. If an emotion arrives, I listen without hurry. The way you sit with a friend until they find their own quiet. I turn toward my body with the gentleness you bring to a sanctuary. I smooth my forehead from within, let my eyelids grow heavy, free my tongue from the palate, and soften my jaw. I travel through neck and shoulders and notice how pieces of the day had stayed there. I take them off with respect, like hanging a wet coat so it can dry. I move down the arms to the hands and grant them rest for all they carried. I let the palms settle and the fingers find stillness. I open to gratitude as if I were opening a window to the night breeze. I give thanks for the bright and for the modest. For morning light I may have forgotten to admire, for the glass of water that calmed my thirst, for a brief laugh in the middle of a worry, for the unexpected message from someone I love, for the food that sustained me, for a sentence that made me think. I give thanks for what went well, and for what did not go my way, because both teach. Gratitude neither excuses nor denies. It shines where I once saw only shadow. I also recognize the tensions, the mistakes, the words spoken out of time, the promises I couldn't keep, the expectations that weighed more than they should. I look at them without dramatizing and without minimizing. I welcome them as part of the path, as signs asking me to move with more care or to change direction. If something hurts, I place a hand where my body holds it and breathe there. I inhale to make space. I exhale so the pain can lose its edge. I don't fight what I feel. I give it a seat, and from that seat it starts to change. I remember I am not alone in this world. I think of the people I crossed paths with today. Someone who hurried past, someone who truly listened, someone who irritated me, someone who held me up, someone I barely noticed. For each one I wish good. May the tired find relief, the confused find clarity, the fearful find company, the joyful find someone to share it with. I extend this wish to those far away and to those no longer here. Kindness doesn't run out when it's offered. It grows like a lamp that lights other lamps. I return to this home and walk it in silence with my imagination. The front door, opened and closed so many times, settles into rest. The hallway that was a runway becomes a corridor of peace. The kitchen that smelled of coffee or fruit or bread finds its calm. The table holds conversations and also shared silence. The chairs, the couch, the windows, everything rests in its place. The bedroom lowers its lights. The bed, the pillow, the blanket get ready to receive me kindly. I accept that much lies beyond my control. Some matters await a reply. Some decisions will be made tomorrow. Some crossroads I still don't know how to cross. I am not the measure of all things. There is a deeper current that holds. I place what worries me in a bowl of light. Proper names, dates, numbers, symptoms, questions. I don't push them away or clutch them with anxiety. I set them down there, knowing they won't vanish but will stop squeezing my chest. Trusting doesn't mean closing my eyes. It means opening them to a wider horizon. I choose to forgive and to ask forgiveness. I recall a gesture that hurt and notice my reaction. I name it, and instead of feeding it, I offer it rest. I understand that every person, myself included, carries stories I don't know. Separating the person from the act gives me freedom. If I failed, I admit I am human, responsible and still worthy of learning. I ask what I can mend, what word I can offer tomorrow, what care I can take. I don't lock myself in remorse. I open to the chance to do better. I allow my body to sink a little deeper into the place where it rests. I feel the contact of back, hips, heels, the temperature of my hands, the steady pull of gravity that holds me without asking anything in return. I let my breathing widen and slow, as if hugging from the inside. The mind learns from that spaciousness and releases its habit of sprinting. I can picture a dark sky seeded with points of light. Each point is a reason to trust. Sometimes trust is not understanding, and even so, taking a step toward rest. I bring to mind a scene from today that I'd like to live with more presence. I see myself there and make a little room before responding. I look into eyes with curiosity, ask instead of assuming, breathe before I speak. It isn't an exam, it's a gentle rehearsal. I let my body learn the shape of calm, my mouth the pace of a clear word, my gaze the kindness of someone who knows we're all learning. This rehearsal doesn't control tomorrow, it plants a way of being that will do me good. I listen to the sounds around me now, a distant murmur from the street, the soft creak of the house settling, a vehicle passing, a door closing, maybe a bird not yet asleep. I don't fight the sounds or hunt for perfect silence. I let them be and discover that stillness is larger than the absence of noise. I also hear the sounds within, the insistence of a heartbeat, the tide of breath, the stomach reminding me I'm alive. All this makes a simple music that escorts me towards sleep. I think of the faces I love. I linger on each one with patience, as if time stretched to really see them. I recall a sentence, a quirk, a laugh, a caring gesture. I wish them well with words that are plain and true. Be safe, be at peace. Find your way, have friendly hands and purposes that give meaning. If there is tension with someone, I notice the knot and don't yank it. I let it rest. Knowing haste breaks threads, and patience sometimes mends them on its own. I let today's past soften into an image. Edges lose their sharpness and colors dim. The story settles onto itself and rests. I don't erase, I integrate. What happened is part of me, but it doesn't define me whole. At the center of what I am there is a place that doesn't depend on my successes or my stumbles. That center is a lit house I can always return to. Tonight, I return. I tend my inner speech. Instead of phrases that harm me, I choose a language that accompanies me. I tell myself I'm worth more than my results, that I can learn, that I deserve rest, that I also need tenderness. It isn't self-deception. It's hygiene for the mind. What I tell myself builds ground or digs holes. Tonight I choose steady, gentle ground. Steady to hold me. Gentle so I don't wound myself. I accompany my body on a slow tour. Forehead, eyelids, cheeks, mouth, neck, shoulders, back, chest, abdomen, waist, hips, thighs, knees, calves, ankles, feet. In each place I leave a brief word of thanks. Thank you for holding me. Thank you for warning me. Thank you for carrying me. Where I notice tension, I accompany it. Where I notice emptiness, I accompany it. Where I notice calm, I accompany it. Accompanying is already a way to heal. I imagine closing an inner window where the day's matters used to slip in. I don't slam it. I close it after the last thread of air has entered. I make sure the space stays tempered, neither cold nor hot, at a climate that invites rest. On a wall of this inner room there is a clock without hands. It doesn't mark hours. It reminds me that here time widens, and I can suspend urgency to rest in an extended now. I open to dreaming what I need. Dreams that sort and clean and return pieces to their place. Dreams that carry simple messages, understandable images, gestures of reconciliation. If a shadow appears, I ask what it's trying to protect and what it came to teach. I hold it just enough and let it pass. If a happy memory shows up, I savor it without clinging. Dreams are part of the language life uses when my guard goes down. Before I say goodnight to the day, I make a kind tally. I recall a small decision I handled well. I recall a word I'd rather not have said and turn it into a promise to repair. I recall a moment when I felt fully alive. 3 gestures, like 3 white stones I slip into my pocket for tomorrow. I don't need more inventory. The essential has been seen. I let my breathing finish settling. In, out, and with each cycle, a gentle wave rinses the shore. I watch that shore with patience, like someone sitting at dusk facing the sea, accepting that the show is simple and enough. If I drift, I return without scolding. Returning is part of the path. No one asks me for perfection. I'm asked for presence. Now I surrender. Not as someone defeated, but as someone who trusts the hands that hold. What I don't control is sheltered. What does depend on me will sleep at my side until morning. There is a work that continues while I rest. Life reweaving threads, the body repairing tissues, the mind filing stories. My part is simple and precious. Let go. Letting go is not losing. It is relaxing the muscle that tried to grip the world. I give thanks one last time before sleep. I thank this roof and this body, what I learned and what I still don't understand, the people who make up my weave, and the opportunities on their way. I tell myself honestly that I did what I could with what I had, and that tomorrow I'll keep learning. I offer myself a small smile, almost invisible, that only I know. That smile is a pact to treat myself with more gentleness. When I'm ready, I let my eyelids finally fall, and my breathing set a wider and wider rhythm. If any idea insists, I invite it to wait at the threshold, and promise I'll hear it in daylight. Now is not the time to decide or explain. Now is the time to trust. The night receives me. I receive the night. In that meeting, the lights that are no longer needed fade softly. I rest, and in my rest life keeps taking care of me.